better pour water on that man.
Talk about a game-changing player.
You see me again.
Seattle Seahawks trying to maintain the outright lead in the NFC West and stay one game ahead of St. Louis. The Cardinals losing to Kansas City at home yesterday, and St. Louis comes out here next Sunday. Warren Sapp and the defense is dug in after giving up scores in the first 3 drives, keeping Seattle off the board the last few. Seneca Wallace first down pass is dropped, a rare drop by Deion Branch. Will have second down. Well, one of the names in Seahawk fame is a 2-time Butkus Award winner, terrific linebacker at Oklahoma in the mid-'80s, and then Brian Bosworth came out here to Seattle, played 24 games, 87 through 89, then made a name in Stone Cold, and a segment there in the longest yard as well. Brian Bosworth joins us up here in the booth. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me in, guys.
One of my favorite movies.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Joe watches it 3 times a week.
Do you have a
Once
Harley?
a week.
You have a Harley?
No, my wife won't let me ride a bike. She'd kill me.
Nothing like the freedom of being on a bike.
I gave up freedom a long time ago.
Joe on a short leash, boys and girls.
Second down from the 20. Wallace has a lot of room to run. Seneca Wallace. 36 yards, first down into Raider territory. Make it 37 at the Oakland 43.
We've been stressing all night the dimension that Seneca Wallace adds to this offense. It's his ability to run when plays aren't available. You drop back, you make the set, there's the hole you want to go to, and now he's like a punt returner. But I really like the decisions that he makes, getting out of bounds and not taking unnecessary hits.
What a difference maker Wallace is with those legs. And Mike Holmgren told us, you know, you want a quarterback who's learning, getting out of the habit of being a running quarterback, to look for that second and third receiver in the progression. But you also want to pick up and go when it's open. And that time he made the right choice. Now just lofting it for Strong, who bounces off the would-be tackle by the rookie Huff and gains a couple of yards.
I need to ask you a question because you're made some fame as an action hero in a movie. When you see the action heroes who are out there now, like The Rock or Vin Diesel, how many can you beat up, do you think, if it came to that?
It depends on how they choreograph the play, but really the true action heroes are the ones that are down here on the football field. There's nothing like playing football. The adrenaline that you get when you're playing is no better high when you're standing down there between the white lines. It's just the greatest sport in the world.
When you've done it before, do you miss it when you come to a game and smell it and see it again?
No question about it. That's why I wanted to go down. I wanted to feel the excitement again, what it was like to be down on the field. You feel the energy from the crowd, and what a great stadium and venue they have here in Seattle. It's just it's a phenomenal feeling of being a football player, and it's such an honor. And so many people want to do that, and they don't get a chance to do it, and I had that taste of it, and once you get that taste is
Well, let me ask you this about that. Is there any specific regret you have in your career? Because it was certainly not as good as you thought or we thought it would be.
Or as your college career was.
No question. You know, I've gone back and forth with it, and I've reconciled that I don't have any regrets. I lived and played as hard as I could, and I was a football player, and in my heart, I'll always be a football player. So from a standpoint of regret, no regrets whatsoever.
The 3rd and 12 is going to turn into 3rd and 17. Derek Burgess threatening to come off the edge.
False start, 83, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Tough drive for Deion Branch. We've seen his highlights so many times with Bo Jackson. What was it like to play against Bo in these Raiders-Seahawk rivalries?
Well, I tell you, I just wish that both of us, Bo and myself, had a longer career. That loved to have had an opportunity to have another shot at each other. We would have had a great rivalry between each other. And not only that, there's a rivalry between the Oakland Raiders and the Seahawks. Just there's a vengeance between both teams, and you can feel it.
3rd and 17 against a 4-man rush. Wallace cannot escape, and he is sacked. So this Raider defense has come up with Tommy Kelly and Derek Burgess, who is averaging a sack a game since he became a Raider.
7.5 coming into this. The defense of the Oakland Raiders has kept him in this football game. The pressure coming from outside. Chris Gray trying to block him. Now Seneca Wallace that time, they kept him inside, forced him up where the other guys were coming from, and gave him nowhere to escape to.
Blackemeyer with the wind is back will kick it away. He has had a very tough night punting in the conditions. Fielding it on the bounce is Chris Carr, and Perry, the fullback, brings him down. Josh with the tackle. Back at the 10. Boz, great having you up in the booth. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Enjoy it.
Good seeing you. Good luck. Brian Bosworth joining us, part of the Seattle-Oakland history.
You can't wrap them up against allergies, but you can treat almost every allergic reaction with Piriton. Piriton, for the family's allergies.
We got so used to Randy Moss being a difference maker on the field. Every time he came out in Minnesota, 3 catches, 38 yards tonight. It just is one more example of the frustration he has felt since the trade acquisition in March of 2005 from Minnesota. Here in the Great Northwest, Moss trying to get the Raiders going, down 13-0, midway through the third. Andrew Walter's throw is deflected and almost intercepted. Courtney Anderson was the intended receiver. We'll talk about Moss. Guys, do you remember every time you watch the Vikings, Randy was making one of those home run plays, a 40-plus yard reception. He had him 7 seasons with Minnesota, an average of 7 times a year. Now, a season and a half with the Raiders, a total of 5.
He was his own worst enemy by getting himself out of Minnesota. He ends up in Oakland, where it doesn't work with him and any of the quarterbacks so far, and he goes on radio shows and says, maybe it would be best if I was traded.
Second down, Rashard Lee, the fullback, incomplete. Peterson separates Lee from the ball. Julian's had a good game again tonight.
Is he a Hall of Famer in your mind, Randy Moss? I know he's got great numbers,
No.
but... No.
Not yet.
Can he be if he stays here where it doesn't look like he can have any impact?
They have, one of the things they like about Andrew Walter is he has a big arm and throws the ball down the field well. But they don't throw the ball down the field much anymore. They don't even take the chances. When you have a Randy Moss with that kind of athletic ability, you just give him a chance to go make a play. They don't do that.
Now he's taking the shot. It's for Moss. Randy goes up and couldn't pull it in. Marcus Trufant was there, and the safety, Ken Hamlin, came over to break it up.
They have to do that more. If you're going to throw 5 a game, he's going to come down with 2. Percentages will be in his favor. And you'll see, even with everybody around him, look at the play he makes on Trufant. Still almost has it in his hands, which means that you don't want to run him into the interior. You want to keep him on the perimeter where he can go up against one guy and make a play, not 3.
This could be the changing point of the game. Punt into the wind. Seattle may get very good field position, and they may just slam the door on the Raiders. That goes kick to the 38, Nate Burleson, another former Minnesota Viking. Across midfield, and the drive will start in Oakland territory at the 46. The Raiders tonight, 34 plays, 71 yards.
The San Diego Chargers select Sean Merriman, linebacker, Maryland.
Fueled with ferocity, San Diego's Sean Merriman turned the lights out on the opposition en route to the 2005 Defensive Rookie of the Year award and his first Pro Bowl.
Sean Merriman absolutely tattoos him under the chin. Nowhere to go, tackle. That's the rookie, Sean Merriman.
These guys look fantastic. I'm so proud.
Join the Reebok Hockey Revolution. Visit NASN.com, your home for North American sports merchandise.
Where the Panthers have had 14 days to stew after the loss to the Dallas Cowboys. They're 4-4, and they need every game they can get against John Gruden, Bruce Gradkowski, Cadillac, and the Buccaneers. Monday Night Football from Carolina, 8:30 Eastern, 1 week from right now. Seahawks take over in Raider territory. Scored on the first 3 possessions, nothing on the last 5. And a tough screen to catch for Strong, who got caught up in the offensive and defensive line.
If there is a bright spot for the Oakland Raiders, it's on the defensive side of the ball. They're very, very young. They've invested 4 of the last 6 #1 picks in their defensive secondary. Both their corners have been #1 picks. Their safeties have been #1 picks. This past year, Michael Huff out of Texas, a strong safety, is a #1 pick. They want to be able to allow the guys to go press one-on-one and play with a lot of man coverage. And they'll be able to do that, but they have to get some help from the offense.
Second down, Maurice Morris split wide and a flat.
False start, 68, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Third time on Tom Ashworth. Here's Michelle.
Well, there are 2 old guys, quote unquote, on this Raiders defense, and it's Derek Burgess, who's 28, and Warren Sapp, who's 33. And Burgess was telling me that he's really proud of the young guys. He won't tell them that directly, although maybe they'll hear about this report. And he said they don't need to know that right now. I don't want to pat him on the back at this point in the season, but he said he's very impressed and really a little surprised by how well the young guys are handling their responsibilities, Mike.
Yeah, Michelle, those 2 guys have 18 of the 42 years of NFL experience on this defense, and they continue to make plays. Burgess the sack on the last drive. Warren Sapp has a sack and a couple of tackles for loss, including that one.
And what's discouraging from a Seattle standpoint is they wanted to come out and run the football. Mike Holmgren told us, I'm going to stay with the run more than I have in the past. I'm committed to it. Well, not if you can't get any blocking. Now, Floyd Womack is just back at the left guard position, where they have had 4 different guys in 8 games play that position.
The Raiders weren't so absolutely pathetic tonight on offense. They're in this game, you know, and they're in it anyway because Seattle's not scoring, but the Raiders have given their defense nothing from their offense.
3rd and long, 3rd and 17. Wallace's throw is incomplete. With a coverage by Fabian Washington beat earlier on the Deion Branch touchdown, and those young guys did a pretty good job again.
#1 pick a year ago. Good quickness, terrific hips. Look at his hips. Now watch him plant, turn, make the play back, and then swat the ball down with his inside hand. I mean, they really, and that was something when you talk to the Seahawks wide receivers, they talk about the cover ability of these Raider corners.
Nnamdi Asomugha and Fabian Washington with the big guys up front getting the pressure. Plaquemire kicks a direct line drive to Carr, who's a good return man. Well covered by Seattle. Bob Casulo, their special teams coach, does a nice job. Take over at the 20, another Tony Award.
Exactly. For best revival, it's going to be the New Orleans Saints. They're 6-2. Last year, they were 3-13 in Vagabonds. They come back to New Orleans. They're buoyed by great fan support. They start winning like crazy. New coach, new quarterback, hot draft choice. If I could say this in French, I would, but I'll say it in English. Let the good times roll.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very,
how about
very good.
Sean Payton, coach of the year? First half of the season.
We got a chance to give him a Tony Award.
If you told somebody the Saints would have the Rookie of the Year in the first half, they would have guaranteed it's Reggie Bush. It's Marcus Colston, the wide receiver.
Right.
700 yards receiving in the first 8 games. A couple of touchdowns yesterday.
From Hofstra on Long Island. One of my homies.
Wayne Crabette.
3rd to last pick in that draft last year. Look what he's done as he's come in. Lamont Jordan, the first down carry, as we get down to the 4-minute mark. Andrew Walter, the quarterback for the Raiders, has been abused by the Seattle defensive front tonight. If you're just tuning in, 8 sacks for Seattle.
Yeah, if you're the Raiders, come back with another run. Give the offensive line a chance to fire off and move some people.
Tomas Trufant has been very good in coverage when they've gone Randy's way tonight. Of course, the reason Walter is starting is because Aaron Brooks is still hurt. injured his pectoral muscle against Baltimore's second game of the regular season. Brooks just started to throw a little bit. He's the number 3 quarterback for Oakland here tonight.
Shell said he will not put Brooks in a game until he sees that Brooks can actually make a throw. And he's apparently weeks away from that.
Have to try and get a ball to Randy Moss still. He's your playmaker.
Seattle pressure, time for Walter to Moss, couldn't bring it in.
Unfortunately, he went the right place, and this is something that has plagued Randy Moss. When you talk to the Raiders, when you read the articles, the one thing that jumps out is Randy Moss has dropped a lot more balls than you would expect him. Right in his hands, Andrew Walter gets the protection, goes up, goes right through like he's squeezing a fish.
That.
He looked like one of the receivers.
We saw Terrell Owens do that yesterday when he could have won the game for the Cowboys, drop a short touch. That's not the same thing, but you're supposed to catch.
Do remember, and he doesn't need any excuses. They're struggling mightily. We're playing in a driving rainstorm here, guys, so it's not the easiest catch, but they need to step up and make a play is the point. Oh, contact as Burleson trying to field. It is alertly picked up by Marcus Trufant. Kelly Herndon was driven back into Nate Burleson, the would-be punt return man. And it was a dangerous moment for the Seahawks. It was a job done by Jared Cooper on special teams.
The reason it's not a penalty is because the offensive man runs into the receiving to Burleson, to the guy trying to catch the punt.
You see Cooper was out of bounds, and there's always a question once a hat comes off the official, did he make an immediate effort to get back in?
The receiving team blocked the kicking player into the receiver. By rule, there's no foul for interference for the catch. First down.
Yep.
Fans can boo, they're booing the competition committee because it's the rule. It's correctly called on the field.
It's a good one. I mean, if the other guy gets blocked in, if your guy can't protect you, there's no sense penalizing the team that's coming down and covering the kick. I agree with it. I think it's a good call. But Seattle has to find some kind of offense now. They have been stuck in reverse since the first 3 drives. Could have had 21 points on the board very easily. The Raider defense has stepped up and stopped them each time.
6 drives since when they have not scored, Joe. Just around 100 yards in those half-dozen drives. And Wallace eludes the pressure and gets out of bounds. It all started with Derek Gibson's safety blitz. Sam Williams showed him the sideline.
Just the fact that he doesn't get sacked psychologically is good for the offensive line. Conversely, we've seen what happened with Andrew Walter on the other side. Not only does he have the ability to avoid pressure, there comes the clean, slides inside. Now he's got the speed to just absolutely run away from Sam Williams.
It's good defense, and you see Rob Ryan there, the son of Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator. He's the holdover on this Raider team. Gunther Cunningham in Kansas City, the only other coordinator holdover of those 10 head coaching changes this year in the league.
Brother of Rex in Baltimore, and both of them love to bring pressure. They like to move. They like their athletes at the linebacker position that can get into a lot of places that confuse reads for quarterbacks.
He's got that Raider look, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Long hair. Bet if it's not this wet, he probably styles it like Prince Valiant on some level.
Another big 3rd down for...
There's Al Davis watching in the booth. Can't be happy with his offense. Mr. Vertical Offense can't be happy with this.
Against the 4-man rush, Sapp gets to Wallace again. Ruled an incomplete forward pass. Warren Sapp beat Walter Jones 5 consecutive Pro Bowls.
Now this ball might have hit one of the offensive linemen also. Warren Sapp again, right around. That actually, if that's a pass, if that's considered a pass, it should be illegal touching because it hit an offensive lineman.
So now 7 possessions that the Seahawks have been kept off the board. And back to Plakemeyer with the kick. The wind at their back, Seattle has not been able to do much in the 3rd, except get off a rocket shot. Carr room to run from his own 5. Got it back to the 16-yard line. The penalty marker's down on the return as well. The kick was 63 wind-aided yards. And it will back Oakland up even more.
Illegal block in the back during the return. Number 89, return team. Half the distance to the goal. Receiving team will keep the ball. First down.
Now this is what you do from a game management standpoint. You have 2:11 to go. What you want to do is you want to control the clock. You want to be able to punt with the wind if you can. So you try and work and milk this clock down so that if you do have to punt, you're actually going to change field position. You don't want to kick into this wind, so you
It's
come
going to
out.
require a first down at least.
Run the
right?
football. Yep, run the football.
Robert Gallery, number 2 overall pick 2 years ago, continues his struggles.
Ball start, 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
When we talked about this the other day with Art Shell, who you're looking at right there, standing in the rain with nothing to do to make the offense work, he said, quote, "We've got to stop making mistakes." They've made them in the offensive line all night long.
Shut out by the Chargers. Not sniffing a point against the Seahawks on this Monday night. Lamont Jordan got a nice block from Randy Moss, and Jordan turns the corner, keeps it in bounds. And Joe, that's what you were talking about, getting out to the 36-yard line and a first down.
We started to see this kind of a burst out of Lamont Jordan a couple series ago. He picked up a first down, ran hard, then ran hard on the 1st and 10. Good job on the right side by Langston Walker, number 66, and Randy Moss helping out in different ways. No, it doesn't matter. You get the guy on the ground, even if you fall over him. It counts as a block. No style points there.
Longest play in 2 weeks for the Raiders. They're over 100 yards for the first time in 2 weeks. Jordan again, same direction. Again tackled by Kelly Herndon. What a good first down pickup of 5.
Kevin Booth at the right guard position and Langston Walker at the right tackle position are just caving in that right side where Bryce Fisher is. Now, Fisher's only 268. Langston Walker is 345. I think you'd call that a mismatch.
Three in a row, Jordan. Couple of yards, he'll have 3rd and short inside of a minute.
I've got a question for you. Art Shell told us yesterday, he said you run the football, you stop the run. It's been the same since the 1920s. Then why in the first half did it seem like the Raiders are trying to pass on almost every down and getting sacked repeatedly? Why not run?
Totally agree with you. Don't have an explanation. This is what they have to do. This is the way you get offensive linemen into a game is running ball. They should run the football here again. They've got something going now. They ought to continue.
And Oakland forced to take its first time out of the half. They've missed their last 9 third down conversions here. Those of you who might just be tuning in, the Raiders trailing 13-0. Here's how it happened. 8 sacks allowed by Oakland. NFL record for a team in a game since they've been keeping track. 12 sacks allowed. Randy Moss, 3 catches, 38 yards, has hands on a couple here in the 3rd quarter, continues his season of frustration. Seneca Wallace, 2nd start for the injured Matt Hasselbeck, 152 passing yards. Opening drive, touchdown to Dion Branch, 22 yards. It's the only touchdown scored on a very windy, rainy night in Seattle. It's been raining for 30 straight hours. It's blowing sideways right to left as you watch. Get the 12th man. These great fans here in Seattle. There's very few seats vacant, and they've been loud right throughout.
If you're the Raiders, you've done an excellent job running the football. Don't get cute. Don't try play action. Don't go for something big. Keep letting the big guys up front do their job.
Throwing on 3rd and 2 to Rashard Ali. That play has worked a couple of times tonight. First down to the 47-yard line. Lee, a third-year man out of Middle Tennessee, who was with the Cowboys for a couple of years and the Packers last year.
It's a good-looking drive by the Raiders. Come on back out, run the football.
They've only got one thing going against them. It's their history this year. Do you know in the second half of the 7 games that they have played, they've only managed 19 offensive points. That's less than 3 points a game in the second half created by offense.
Yeah, the defense gave him a touchdown and a safety. That's about it.
Yeah.
Off we go to the fourth quarter. Raiders' first drive of the night. Can they make it a one-score game?
Play football. In 2006, Carson Palmer returns to the Bengals huddle after sustaining a severe knee injury in the 2005 playoffs. Palmer led Cincinnati to its first division title in 15 years by hitting star receivers Chad Johnson and T.J. Houshmandzadeh. With their leader in place, Bengals fans can anticipate an explosive season on offense.
So you all right, Jake?
Well, don't you think Mum's been acting a bit weird?
I wouldn't worry about it, son.
Only Actimel contains the good bacteria LC Immunitas. Try it and see if you feel the difference. They're none.
NASN, the North American Sports Network, a new and exciting sports channel dedicated to the best in live North American sports 24/7. NASN is the best of live NFL, including the Super Bowl live, up to 175 regular season NHL games and the Stanley Cup Finals, comprehensive coverage of the MLB regular and postseason, and exclusive college football and basketball. With the best daily news, highlights, and analysis, NASN is your channel for the best in live North American sports. Visit NASN.com for scheduling, news, and information.
Off we go to the fourth quarter. The man on the left is in the Hall of Fame. A great player, offensive lineman, part of Raider history. The man on the right has Hall of Fame credentials for a head coach. A Super Bowl victory. Got to the Super Bowl in Seattle last year and lost. Mike Holmgren trying to get his team to maintain sole possession of the lead in the NFC West. Up 13-0 as we start the fourth quarter in Seattle. This is first down. And a run with Zach Crockett hit by Lofa Tatupu. And brought down by Russell Davis, but another good first down game.
That's the key for the Raiders, is they have to get yards on 1st and 10. Don't put Andrew Walter back there where Seattle defensively can cut it loose, bring linebackers and safeties. They're picking up 5 yards on first.
Changed their whole philosophy of offense in the second half from pass to run.
You made the point, Tony. In the first half, it seemed like every play was a pass play.
And all of them were sacks.
That sets up play action because they've run it effectively. And Walter throws it down the seam, incomplete. Intended for Courtney Anderson, the tight end. You know, you do look at their roster and you say, Jerry Porter, who's working his way back into some good graces.
He's in the doghouse.
At least he's on the field. That's better than he has been. Right. He's not on the suspended list. He's a good receiver. Moss is a good receiver. Lamont Jordan was a decent back with the Jets, averaged 4.7 a carry. Zach Crockett, very serviceable. After all, Robert Gallery's the second overall pick in the draft. Jake Grove, you look at the players and say they don't seem that bad.
Second pick in that same draft. You're right. No, you're right. But they're not playing together.
And they're very simple offensively, to be frank. 3rd and 6. Through the hands of Ronald Curry and incomplete. 4th down from the 42. They'll punch it away.
They don't seem that bad when you look at the names, but they have played that badly so far this year. They are the worst offense in the league.
You're going to go for it here? You're going to go for it on
they should.
4th and 6.
Your defense is playing well. Why not? I mean, really, your defense is playing well. It's a momentum changer for their offense. It's a confidence builder.
Walter hung on to for the first down by Alvis Whitted. What a grab for the man out of North Carolina State to keep the Raiders' best drive of the night alive.
Andrew Walter has shown us that he's got a gun. I mean, we saw the ball go right through Randy Moss's hands, saw one go through Ronald Curry's. Good job by the offensive line. Protection. That's a rocket. I mean, there isn't anybody going to get that but Alvis Whitted because it's moving at such speed.
Big gamble on fourth, and they got it.
Good one.
More yards on this drive than they had in the whole first half. Play action. Walter sacked for the 9th time tonight, and that should be 3 for Grant Wistrom. Or 2 officially for Wistrom.
Robert Gallery has had 4 different offensive line coaches, continues to struggle with technique. He sets, Wistrom just pushes him back and then swims right by him. That's a veteran against a guy who just isn't quite sure how he wants to.
That guy was the 2nd overall pick in the draft, and he's running out of positions on the offensive line to play. I think he's in his 3rd different position there. None have worked out.
And that's the one he played in college.
9 sacks for Seattle, most in 8 years. Screen over the head of Justin Fargas and incomplete. 3rd down coming up.
You ran the ball, ran the ball, ran the ball. Then you got away from what really got you going in this drive. And that's been their problem. I mean, he's been sacked once every 6.3 times. Tonight, every 4th time he drops back.
And remember that stat, that every 6.3 was the 2nd worst in that category in 20 years, going back to Randall Cunningham when he was running all over the place to try to save his life.
And it's worse tonight.
3rd and 21. Flag down. Walter looking toward Moss. Moss came back for the ball. Didn't hang on, going out of bounds, incomplete. Went to the ground, did not come back up with possession, so it's incomplete there. We have a flag back at the line of scrimmage. On Oakland.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Illegal shift. Offense. 89 came out of the huddle and never set. 5-yard penalty.
Catch 2 feet inbounds, but when he goes to the ground, you have to complete the act of a catch, roll back up with possession and control.
Is declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Now that's a heck of a play by Andrew Walter and an excellent job by Randy Moss working back to help him out. But we've seen him drop 2 tonight.
And a very good job by the head linesman coming in to make the correct call on the field, and the Raiders will punt here.
Yeah, not going for 4th and 20.
You can't do it on 4th and 22. Maybe 4th and 20. Consider it, but not 4th and 22.
That was the best Walter has looked here in the last few games. That drive.
Because he had a little running support. He ran the ball a little bit.
See if Leckler can pin them deep. His 10th punt of the night. Fair caught by Burleson at the 10 yards. And to end-over-end tumbler that usually does a good job of keeping you inside. The 10 does just that. Moss could not come up with a big catch when it mattered most.
You can't wrap them up against allergies, but you can treat almost every allergic reaction with Piriton. Piriton, for the family's allergies.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by the all-new Mazda CX-7, the SUV you never saw coming. DirecTV, the exclusive home of NFL Sunday Ticket. Miller Lite, for great taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite, always a good call. And Walmart, be bright.
From the city of Starbucks and software, Gore-Tex and internet cafes, Seahawks on top 13-0, trying to move to 5-3. The Raiders had their best-looking drive of the last 2 weeks. Moss couldn't come up with a big third down catch.
Now Seattle, who has had struggles in the last 7 drives getting anything going, has to move into the win.
Since Seattle scored on their first 3 possessions, this is their 8th possession. No points out of the prior 7. Maurice Morris in for the injured Sean Alexander. Chased down by Warren Sapp, having a very good game.
Randy Moss is a guy you have to get into the ballgame some way, shape, or form, and the Seattle Seahawks realize that. They single cover him with close coverage. Every time he tries to go up for a ball, there's at least a few people around. And then when he does get some opportunities, he can't haul it in. He dropped a first down pass, and now he had an opportunity at one, and it got away from him again.